You know, when you really think about it, life in the wild is this constant, high-stakes game. For pretty much every creature out there, every single day boils down to one simple, brutal goal: eat and don't get eaten. So let's crack open nature's ultimate survival playbook and see how it's done. I mean, this is the most fundamental question, right? Predators are everywhere. They've got the sharp teeth, the super keen senses, the mind-boggling speed. So if you're on the menu, what do? Well, it turns out nature has cooked up some of the most clever and honestly surprising answers you could ever imagine. All right, rule number one in the How Not to Get Eaten Club is pretty simple: don't get seen. This is the art of invisibility, right? Camouflage. It's a strategy that's been perfected over millions and millions of years. But, and this is the cool part, it is so much more than just, matching the color of a leaf. Yeah, that brings us to this really fascinating idea called masquerade. See, this isn't just about blending in, it's about hiding in plain sight. The goal is to convince a predator that you're not even an animal. You're nothing interesting. A dead leaf, a twig, just some boring background scenery to be completely ignored. And this is the perfect example. Check out the oak leaf butterfly. When its wings are open, it's this flash of vibrant, iridescent blue and orange. Impossible to miss. But the second it lands and closes those wings, poof, it's gone. It literally transforms into a dried-up old leaf. It's got the veins, the stem, even fake little mold spots. It's an absolutely perfect disguise. This disguise is so unbelievably good, it actually helped shape our entire understanding of evolution. Imagine being the great naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, trekking through a rainforest and seeing this. For him, it was like a light bulb moment. He realized he was watching natural selection play out right in front of him. It was simple, really. Over thousands and thousands of generations, the butterflies that just happened to look a little more like a dead leaf were the ones that didn't get eaten. So they're the ones that got to pass on those leafy-looking genes. Okay, so looking the part is one thing, but what about fooling other senses? Let's take this whole idea underwater. The harlequin filefish here, it takes camouflage to a completely different level. Its whole life revolves around the coral it lives in and eats. And here's the genius part. It's all about its diet. You know the saying, you are what you eat? Well, this fish takes it literally. By constantly munching on coral, it doesn't just look like coral, it starts to smell like coral. This is called chemical camouflage. Think about it. A predator can swim right past, sniffing around for a fishy meal, and all it smells is, well, coral. The filefish becomes completely invisible to its nose. But if we're really going to crown a champion of camouflage, we have to talk about the undisputed kings and queens of disguise. I'm talking about cephalopods. Your cuttlefish, octopuses, and squids. For them, camouflage isn't just a static costume. It's a living, breathing, intelligent art form. I mean, just look at this list of superpowers. They can change their color and pattern in the blink of an eye, literally, using these millions of tiny sacs of pigment in their skin. But wait, there's more. They can also change their skin's texture, going from perfectly smooth to all rough and bumpy to mimic a rock. And get this, some can even hide the tiny electrical field their body produces, making them invisible to predators like sharks that can sense it. It's next level stuff, truly unbelievable. Okay, so being invisible is obviously an amazing strategy, but what if you can't hide? What if you're just out there? Well, that brings us to the next chapter in our survival playbook: strength in numbers. Sometimes the best defense is a good teammate. And we're not just talking about the classic safety in a crowd thing, where it's hard for a lion to pick one zebra out of a huge herd. No, we're diving into something way cooler. These incredible partnerships where two totally different species team up to become the perfect little defensive unit. And this partnership is just a perfect example. Let's break down this dream team. First, you have the pistol shrimp. Great digger, but nearly blind. So he's the one who makes the burrow. Then you have the goby fish, terrific eyesight, but can't dig. He stands guard at the entrance. Now here's the crucial part. The goby stalks trouble and signals danger with a specific flick of its tail. The shrimp feels that movement, and in an instant, both of them dive back into the burrow to safety. It's the perfect team. One provides the safe house, the other provides the security system. But teamwork isn't always about hiding. Sometimes it's about going on the offensive, in a big way. Take the Japanese honeybee. When a giant hornet, and these things are basically flying nightmares for bees, tries to invade their hive, the bees don't just try to sting it.
Oh no, they do something way more intense. They swarm it, forming this tight, buzzing ball of bees all around the hornet. And here's what's so incredible. Inside that bee ball, they're not stinging. They're vibrating their flight muscles like crazy, all in unison. And all that vibration generates an insane amount of heat. The temperature inside that ball skyrockets to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. It literally cooks the hornet from the inside out. The bees can handle that temperature just fine, but for the hornet, it's lethal. They create their own tiny biological furnace. Wow.
So, hiding is good. Teaming up to fight is also good. But you know what's even better? Knowing the attack is coming before it even starts, avoiding the fight entirely. And to do that, you need a seriously sophisticated early warning system. And animals have senses tuned for this in ways that are just hard for us to even wrap our heads around. Take this. We look at a white wolf on white snow and think, wow, perfect camouflage. But a caribou sees the world differently. They can see an ultraviolet light. Now, snow reflects UV light, making it super bright, but a wolf's fur absorbs it. So to a caribou, that perfectly hidden wolf shows up as a big, dark spot against the blindingly bright snow. It's a literal life-saving superpower. And you see these kinds of sensory alarm systems all over nature. Harbor seals? Their hearing is so good, they can tell the difference between the calls of orcas that eat fish and the ones that hunt seals. That's incredible. Damfish can literally taste the water to check for chemical signs that a predator is around. And a cricket? It has these tiny hairs that can feel the slightest movement of air, like from a spider creeping up on it. Just amazing. So, we've looked at invisibility, strength in numbers, and these amazing early warning systems. But here's the thing, you absolutely have to remember, none of this is set in stone. This playbook is constantly being rewritten. It's not a book, it's a live action game that never, ever stops. And this gets to the heart of something called an evolutionary arms race. It's a perpetual, high-stakes game of evolutionary chess. For every clever defense, a predator is evolving a new way to attack. For every butterfly that gets better at looking like a leaf, there's a bird evolving sharper eyes to spot the fake. This back and forth, this constant one-upsmanship, is one of the biggest forces driving the incredible diversity of life on Earth. It's this deadly, but also incredibly creative, dance between predator and prey. Which kind of leaves us with this one big, mind-bending question, doesn't it? As this evolutionary arms race keeps going, with both sides getting smarter and more sophisticated, what's next? What's the next impossible defense that's evolving right now somewhere out there in a rainforest or deep in the ocean? What's the next chapter that's being written in nature's ultimate survival playbook?